I'm here by these waters currently known as Noons Creek, the beautiful ancestral territory of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Coquitlam, the Squamish, and Musqueam First Nation, whose people have been caring for these lands since time immemorial. The site was originally called Saymahmit, where the families of the Tsleil-Waututh would come and they'd gather clams in the inlet and fish for one of our greatest relatives, the salmon. But this land has been witness to many changes, particularly the construction of the city we now call Fort Moody. The trees were clear-cut, the land was blasted, and our relatives, the salmon, were prevented from making their journey back home. But I raise my hands to the Noons Creek Hatchery, to Dave Benny and all the volunteers who've been dedicated for almost 30 years to rehabilitate Noons Creek and make this creek a safe and healthy environment for our salmon relatives to return. The hatchery has also been dedicated to being a gathering place for the community to come and learn about being stewards of this land, and in particular, recalibrating our community's values to realign with Coast Salish vision of a better future for all of our relations. This house post is named Saymahmit. It carries the name of the Tsleil-Waututh village that was right here on this land. Its presence here reclaims the songs and stories of the Tsleil-Waututh ancestors who once lived here long before it was known as Noons Creek. It was carved by James Harry in 2017 as part of the Welcome Post project. The design on Saymahmit is an expression of this community's values after a summer program of listening to Coast Salish artists and knowledge keepers, sharing stories, speaking truths, and talking about this land before it was named Port Moody. The community learned about a history when families would come from all different nations to the inlet and dig for clams. There are shell middens all along the shoreline trail that marks the spot where Coast Salish ancestors returned year after year to harvest clams. Here at its base are these clams and this kelp, and they symbolize what was once abundant in Port Moody. And they remind us how critical it is for us to protect and preserve the wealth that we cherish about living here in these Coast Salish lands and waters. This here is a weaving, and it represents cedar, our tree of life, and all the gifts that cedar offers all of our relations. The boardwalk along Port Moody's trail is built with cedar. This house post, the gazebo, this hatchery is built from cedar. Many creatures seek shelter in cedar's boughs. The air we breathe is cleaned by cedar. Our hearts, our minds, our spirits are supported by cedar and her magnificent medicine. But this weaving is also representing interconnectivity and how we are all part of one big family. These trees, the winged ones, the four-legged, the swimming ones, our beloved salmon, all of our relations, all living together in this one big, beautiful earth we all call home. And each and every one of us were born with our own unique gifts and our own role in ensuring the good health and well-being for the whole family. Which brings us to this swirl of energy circling around this centerpiece. We are at a critical time in our relationship with all of our relations. Here are two salmon swimming together. We live and are building our futures in Coast Salish lands and waters. Coast Salish people are salmon people whose ancestors have been caring for this land since the beginning of time. These salmon swimming together represents the legacy that new residents are joining when they come and they live here. These two salmon swimming together symbolize that we are all salmon people, and therefore it is our job to work together to ensure a healthy home for all of our relations. community gave this house post to the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. The then chief, Chief Marine Thomas, requested we raise it here, where we continue to gather, and we are always reminded of our sacred responsibility to care for these Coast Salish lands and waters we all call home.